And I seen this sign before too as a kid going to my grandma's house. It said, read this sign and run, nigga. If you can't read, run anyhow. I thought it was funny because I was a little boy, but my mom explained to me like, that's not a joke. That's how wicked it was. The civil rights movement coming up out of that was no joke. It's in the 60s and in the 70s and stuff like that. We're not complaining about it. We just took a mental note of it.
So we didn't come to the U.S. because we were looking for a better life or we were looking for anything. We were brought to the U.S. as a curse because we didn't obey the Most High, because we did not keep the commandments of the Most High. So because of that, we were brought over, shackled up, and brought over to the U.S. in ships as slaves. So we were brought to the U.S. as a curse. It wasn't because we were looking for something better. And we suffered. We went through so much, 400 years of pain and pain and pain. So the first reason why Judah needs to leave America now, because we were brought there as a curse. And even those of us who find success in the States, what is success? Like, what's the definition of what is successful or who is successful? Is success actually success? America tells us that when you're rich, that's successful. You know, when you are in close proximity to the Diddy's of the world, the Epsteins, okay, can we talk about it? The Oprahs, all of these people who are traffickers, basically, then that's what's considered success. Well, let's talk deeper and more about what success for us in the U.S. actually looks like. To me, success in America is basically selling your soul. Success in America is the equivalent of selling your soul. Let's talk about it. Lil Wayne, for example, he's so-called successful. And let's look at his before and after picture. Wow. Does success look like that? How about Wendy Williams? I used to love Wendy Williams. She was successful too. But then let's look at her now. Like, what's going on? You know, when it comes to hip hop, Biggie and Tupac, they were successful. But what happened to them? Some of our great leaders, Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they were successful too. But what happened to them? So those are some big names, right? But let's bring it to our level, just the regular people. People that work in corporate America, right? The people who have high-paying jobs in corporate America. I'm talking about Judah here. I don't care what title they give you. It doesn't even matter. I don't care what title they give you or how much money that they pay you. You have an X, a target on your back, no matter what corporation you're working for. 9 times out of 10, you're the only black person in your position. And it's almost like your target practice. You know what I'm saying? People, no matter whether they work above you, whether they're your boss, or if they work under you, it don't even matter. You'll still deal with these microaggressions. So it's like every single day, they're chipping at your soul. Every single day. Making you feel smaller and smaller, right? People above you, they make you feel like you don't belong, that you're stupid. People under you, they do the same thing. They'll go, instead of asking you a question, they'll go to your boss and ask them the question and bypass you. Comment down below if you've had this happen and if you know what I'm talking about. So the number 2 reason why Judah must leave America is because success in America isn't success. It's actually failure. Because everybody that's put on a pedestal for this black excellence nonsense, you got to really look at what's going on. What do those people have to do in order to be successful? Okay? Now I'm going to bring it to a street level for a minute. Who do they have to bend over for in order to reach that level of success? Nobody wants to talk about that, but I'm going to bring it up because there's things that you have to do in order to be a part of this club. And it's disgusting. It's like the whole point of it is to take the most precious thing that you have away from you, and it's your soul. What are you without your soul? without your manhood, without your womanhood. That's the point of it. So the third reason why Judah must leave the States. Look at what they're doing to our kids. Look at what's happening in these schools. Take a look at the next clip for a minute.
It takes a lot for him to cry like that. Earlier that day, when I picked him up from school, his teacher pulled me aside and told me that one of Saphir's classmates hit him. And of course, I was immediately taken aback. She explained that there were 3 adults in the room, that it happened very quickly, but Saphir was struck in the face, not once, but twice. Saphir didn't hit back. He raised his hands to protect his face, and he said, "No, we don't hit our friends." That detail alone tells you so much about who he is. What I didn't fully realize in that moment, what didn't hit me until later, was how deeply that experience affected him emotionally. I'm the kind of person who needs time to process, and I also want to be honest about something else. As a Black mother raising a special needs child in a predominantly white area, I am very aware of how I'm perceived, and I have to be intentional about how I show up, how I speak, how I advocate, because the last thing I want is for my concern to be misinterpreted as aggression. That shouldn't be something a parent has to think about, but it's the reality. And while I was trying to process the facts of what happened, my child was carrying the emotional weight of it. Seeing your child afraid, especially a child who loves school, changes you. And that's why this week has been so hard. And if our channel has ever been a place of honesty, healing, or connection.
So I worked in education for years, and any teacher that would allow a sweet little kid to get in that state where they're hiding in the closet from a kid that's aggressive and will stand there and just watch this happen as an adult, that person is basically a demon in your face. And you can't even just look at the teacher. You have to look at the institution that hired her, because it goes way deeper than just that teacher. There's the institution that hired her for her to see to it that your child's not protected. And then when you talk to these teachers, you can see and you can hear and you can feel, you know what time it is. You know if you're talking to a person with a soul or not. And obviously she wasn't talking to a person with any type of soul, and the teacher basically could care less. And if the teacher could care less, the institution that hired her could care less. I saw another video by this woman, and she's traveling around and she has a son, and her channel is Rooted in Roaming, and she made a video about why she left the States.
My son, like I said, was going to a really, I don't want to say really good private school, but what I thought to be a really good school. And, I had the belief of I want to set him up for success. So I want to put him in this school. Tuition was a lot, like 20-something thousand, like college tuition, right? So, but I'm thinking, okay, well, this is a sacrifice that needs to be made. I can work, make it happen. But he started having issues at the school that I feel are developmental things that every person should be allowed to go through. And then when you have a boy and you want him to sit still for all these hours, and some issues that were coming up were, he's very active. Yeah, I'm sure he is. He asks a lot of questions, or he, questions me. Yeah, I've taught him to be free. Well, and their response was, well, no lie. This is his teacher's response. Well, there are social norms that he needs to learn, that he has to follow. Now, she was a white woman, an old white lady, talking about my Black son, 7-year-old, talking about that he needs to, what I heard her say was that he needs to know his place and stay in it. He needs to know his place and stay in it. And that's what I heard, because I was reading between the lines. And so that was like, okay, this ain't the place. I thought I was walking my son into the land of milk and honey. And I was fearing that I had walked him into a burning building. And that's when the veil of ignorance was lifted. I said, nah, he ain't got to deal with that. And all the abuse that I was taking at my job, the microaggressions, the micromanaging, it just, the veil of ignorance of, we ain't got to do this. I ain't got to do this no more. I'm not going to do this no more. There just comes a point where you just stop. You give up. You throw the towel in, you say, yeah, I got it. So that's what it was for me. It was just like, it's not worth it. This American dream, the illusion of, Ebony, go to school, get your master's, work really hard, put your school in private school, put your kid in private school, live in this type of neighborhood, and then you'll be happy, right? That's the American dream. But once I got the dream, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare because it's not sustainable.
When I saw this video, I literally did like mental and emotional backflips. I was so happy that she just saw everything so clearly, that she was in tune. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't lying to herself and asking all of these questions. It's like, no, you don't have to ask questions. It's in your face. You know, she clearly saw that the teacher hates her son. She doesn't want him growing up to be the proud black man that he is. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Judah is. She doesn't want him to tap into the essence of who he really is. No, she wants him to think that he's lower than and less than. And this is what these institutions do to our kids. And so, you know, she just thought about it and was like, I ain't got to deal with this. I work online and I don't have to stay here. I don't have to put my son through this. And I really give so much respect to her. Maybe one day, you know, we'll meet in these international streets. But this is what time it is now. You're either going to wake up and realize that these people hate you. They don't want you to tap into who you really are. There is a hatred that they have. And these institutions make them feel like they're nothing, so that they'll do anything for success. Success, right? They'll do anything for it. They'll bend over for it. They'll worship the Baphomet for it. Hello? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Everything is different now. It's like nobody knew anybody that was living overseas or traveling overseas. It just wasn't a thing. We didn't know. Everybody was literally surviving, just working. That's all, you know, people were doing. And we went to school and we just had to deal with whatever. Now it's like, no. Ignorance is a complete and total choice. By the way, if you're wondering why ICE is out on the streets blowing people's heads off and why there's this increasing level of kind of demonic activity and just evilness in the world, you just have all these questions, click the link down below where it says the truth and nothing but the truth, the red pill, right? Click that link down below and get your questions answered. And if you're looking for a remote job, or if you want to have some real talk about real issues with myself, I have the links down below for that. So back to what I was saying, you know, I just love the fact that she took her freedom in her hands and she protected her son for real and said, you know what, we out. I make my money online and I don't have to deal with this. And you, son, you don't have to deal with this. I appreciate her so much for that. That brings me to my fourth reason, right? Freedom is taken, not given. Don't ever think the people who hate you are ever going to give you reparations. If you don't give yourself reparations, you're never going to get it, ever. You are on the land of your oppressor. You're living under a system of your oppressor. Period. There's like nothing else to be said. And they will always try to put you under their foot. Always. And so it's either that you take your freedom papers and get out of there while you still can, or you don't. And so we have to take the responsibility of knowing who we are and praying, right? And repenting and following the Most High's instruction. That's it. That's the answer. We're not going to find the answer any other way. We're just not. What's that song? A change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. I love that song. But the truth is, a change ain't gonna come. You are the change, and you have to change your situation. Freedom is taken. Your freedom is taken. You have to make the decision and decide that I'm not taking this. I ain't gotta take it. Just what the sister said. I ain't gotta take this. My child doesn't have to deal with this. You have a choice. There is a choice to be made. And I hope you make the right one. Comment down below and let me know if you have had a situation where you or your child was disrespected, like in a school. Seeing that little beautiful boy in that closet scared to come out. Oh, that broke me. That really hurt my heart. Please leave. Like, seriously. While you still can. Anyway, I'm Ronnie Light signing off. If I didn't introduce myself, but basically I'm a 10-year expat. Left the States with my family 10 years ago and haven't been back since. That wasn't the original plan, but after George Floyd, that's when I literally mentally divorced the States. And I help others who are ready to do the same thing, that have questions and that want to talk about deeper topics, not just the, how to, because the how to leave is kind of easy. You can just research that yourself, but there's deeper topics and deeper issues that come with this lifestyle. But it's always better than staying in the States. See, the thing is, it's when you've never left the States, you can't even understand what the States has done to you. And I have so many examples. I need to make some more videos just kind of explaining how I learned more about myself just by being outside of the States. Just by being outside. But anyway, I send you much love. These messages I'm sending, I just want the best for you. Seriously, nobody's going to give you freedom. You're going to have to really just take it or suffer. This is Ronnie Light signing off, encouraging you and reminding you that you only have one life here. Make it your best. Choose freedom, real freedom, and go where you glow.